Hey, we are live. It is Nicaragua. It is Saturday evening, and we're trying out a new studio. I'm here with my producer, La Marcelita. I cannot show her because there's no way to flip the camera around. We don't have unlimited numbers of cameras. But this is the actual studio, and I can really only use this when I have my producer. There's no way for me to do this otherwise, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to follow along with your comments and questions and stuff, but I don't have my normal access to things. So this is going to be really interesting. I have no idea how I see the conversation, and I'm working on figuring this out literally right now. So this is kind of a test. That's why we're doing it on a Saturday, to see what is going to happen and just try to figure this out. So at the moment, if you guys are joining, I can't see you. La Marcelita can see you, and so she's looking at the screen, and she's going to let me know in Spanish what is going on and how many people are on and what's going on. Really quickly, I'm just noticing some questions coming up because we do have a popular video today that's doing pretty well. Chris de Kaiser did ask, Scott, can you explain why Guatemala is not as easy as Nicaragua as far as settling down there permanently? I'm going to obviously answer this separately as well, but while we're trying to figure this out, it gives me a good topic to get kicked off with. Not that Chris is watching, so he has no idea that I'm answering right at the moment. So Chris, the thing about Guatemala, so I have not settled there, obviously, so I don't have a ton of information, but they don't have the automatic residency thing that Nicaragua does. Just residency is much easier in Nicaragua. You have to have much higher requirements to get into Guatemala. It is still a very easy country to settle in. And I just did a video about this today. It's going to be out in 2 days, I think. I think it's Monday's video. We talk about what things you really should consider when you're looking at a country. And one of them is not ease of residency, ease of settling. That is such a non-factor in actually moving to a country. It's just, it doesn't matter, not in reality. Now, if there's a country that bars you, you're not able to move to it, okay, that's obviously a huge problem. But if you have a country that's going to allow you to go there, then those processes are pretty minor compared to choosing the right country. So in this example, you're asking about Guatemala and Nicaragua. Why is Guatemala a little bit harder? And the reality is it's a good question and we should answer it. But if Guatemala is the better choice for you, there's no way that the additional effort of its long-term residency process it should play into your decision making. If Guatemala is the right place for you, you should go there. If Nicaragua is the right place for you, you should go there. If neither, then you should go somewhere else. Nicaragua shines as having, as far as I know, as far as I've ever discovered or uncovered, the easiest process for evaluating and long-term stay of any country anywhere. That's great. That's a wonderful thing. But sadly, that doesn't mean that Nicaragua should be specifically higher on anyone's moving list than anywhere else. What it does mean is that if you're looking to try someplace out, Nicaragua may be the first place that you jump to. It may be the first place that you evaluate because it's so easy for you to get in and do that evaluation. And so if some other place, now in this case, Guatemala also super easy, so it wouldn't matter. But if you were comparing Nicaragua and you're saying, I want to stay for a year and see how Nicaragua is, and then you want to compare it to Italy. Well, Italy isn't going to make, for North Americans, they're not going to make it that easy to go evaluate for a year. 3 months? Yes, absolutely. 6 months out of a year? Yes, you could pull that off. But 6 months at a time or a whole year, very hard. You're going to have to go through a lot of paperwork to get to that evaluation stage. So that you may push off because it's a lot more work and just say, Nicaragua, Guatemala, they're so easy. I'm going to start there because I can just do it. That makes sense. But if you were determined that Italy made more sense for you and your family, you shouldn't allow Nicaragua or Guatemala's super easy residents to convince you that that's where you want to be. It wouldn't really make sense at that point. It's just too minor of a factor in order to move, right? It's the country that's right for you is going to be the country that's right for you. Now, I am attempting very hard to get into this live stream and actually see the chat because it is not, I see it. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go into it. It's going to show me an ad. How nice is that? I have to watch an ad to get into my own live stream to hopefully see the chats from you guys. All right. Oh, one more ad. I'm hoping people are on. Are people commenting? Hay personas en la canal. Not many people yet, but it's a Saturday and no one was planning on this. We turned this on all of a sudden, but at least now I can see myself on video. Like, that's pretty cool. The luz está en un poco más a la izquierda, por favor. Solo un poco. And it's not a huge deal. Ronald it's Ronnie. Ronnie, saludos. The only person that's on is on in Spanish. That is very funny. So it's Saturday afternoon. We're only going to do a short live stream today because we're really just kind of testing out the studio. And I think the answer is we actually want the camera a little bit closer, but I need my seat a little bit higher. But I really like having our neon light in this. And one of the lights is burned out. It's not really burned out. It's disconnected. Just to get it fixed. Let's see if we sometimes if you tap it, it turns on, but it'll turn off in a little bit. But it looks uneven if you don't have that. I'm going to watch myself in the video. Hey, Jorge is here. Good evening. Christina's here. Hey, guys. Oh, I didn't see. How do I read this? Duimondunet. Hola from Miami, Florida. And Njord4, nice backdrop. Thank you. So this is actually... we're in the same room that I normally do. This is what I'm looking at most of the time because I don't have a producer most of the time. So this is actually all set up for the purpose of doing exactly this. And I've had this for a year, maybe not a year, a long time. And we've had the neon light, which is super cool. And thanks to Marcella, who actually orchestrated getting this, and Chepe, who built the really cool backdrop. So I need to do a bit of work with the lights to get the lighting right for this setup. So that's one of the things we're testing. I really can't see it until we do this. And I want to be able to have this whole set up, but I don't have a computer here. So this is a completely different experience for me. I have to have a microphone stand, which I do. That works, right? The audio, I assume, is actually better than normal because the microphone's right here. And I'm really far from the camera, which is neat. Like, it's a totally different look. I can't really see it, but I'm looking. I have my phone. I'm literally looking at it oh, that looks cool. And it's a very different experience. So normally, though, I have to have a monitor and make sure that the cameras are working and make sure that the audio is working and keep track of the channel, all of that. That's a little bit difficult to do at times. So I don't normally have my producer, but Marcella is here because we're on a Saturday. And so she is kind of learning the ropes. This is a very different thing because for those who've ever tried live streaming, most people do it with some simple software, just a camera directly into YouTube. We're trying to do this a little bit more seriously, as you guys know, and we have multiple bits of equipment all connected through a broadcast board. So this is actually being controlled by a Blackmagic board, which is super cool and lots of fun and does a great job. It makes this, once you learn it, really easy, but there's a learning curve and all of it is new for all of us. This is Marcella's first time producing the show. And I wish I could put her on camera and show her to you, but there's no way for me to do that at this time. El Nika Man. Hey, Scott, forgot to ask you something as far as cell phone. What would you recommend? Need data mostly for when I go next month? Do they have unlimited data, for example? So no, there is not unlimited data. It's not a big deal. So there's only Tigo and Claro. Both of them are fine. I'm on Tigo. It's not a big deal. I just realized I should turn my audio down so you guys are not listening to me in the background. Both of them are fine. Neither one is a big deal. They're essentially identical, almost identical in price, basically identical in service. Nothing that you got to worry about one over the other. Basically, whatever one floats your boat, you see first, has less lines, shorter, whatever. What I do is I do prepay. You definitely want to do if you're visiting. And I just do the largest mega pack, which is 200 cord, which is about $6, a little bit less, like $5.80. And that gives you something like 6 gigs to use over a course of 15 days. If you use up all the gigs, just buy another one. And you're going to say 6 gigs is not very much. That's true, but certain things don't use that, such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Netflix. Like a whole bunch of things that would use a ton of data don't count against that. The things that typically use that is like opening a web page or going to your mail. So for most people, you barely notice the data usage. Some people go to some, specialty apps or whatever, they're doing something and they go through a lot of data. I've known one or two people who've done that, but in general, people don't come anywhere close to using the data under normal circumstances. So it really does go a long way, because the places that people are using data, like watching my show on YouTube, which is obviously like everyone in the country is doing all the time, obviously, that doesn't use any of your data. You're unlimited on those services because they pay for a direct line. So you're generally okay. But if you want to go on services that are not covered that way and you want to use a ton of data and you're not able to get on Wi-Fi, then yes, if you're on the LTE or the 4G, 5G networks, you're going to use your 6 gig really, really quickly. But I can tell you, I use my phone extensively all the time. I'm not sure I've ever once used the data in a 2-week period. So, but anything will work. Greetings from Punta Gorda, Fat Point, Florida. Hey, Luke. Awesome mic. The audio is amazing. Thank you. It is the Rode Pro? I'm not sure. No, it's not the Pro. I actually forget which one it is. It's the upgraded passive Rode. Next time I'm in the States, I'm thinking about going for the active Rode, which is even cooler. I've been so happy with the Rodes that I've had. I've got 2 lavaliers, the little tiny one and then this one. And I want to go for one of the big booms, but I'm also thinking about getting some podcasting mics. I don't know. We will see. Hey, Zane is here. Hey, what's up? AT&T have premium, give you Tigo Unlimited. Oh, nice. And I have T-Mobile from the States, so it's not as fast as using Claro here, but it gives you unlimited Claro as well. Larry's here. Couldn't be happier. So glad I canceled my El Viejo trip. I would have missed the live broadcast. Hey, Larry. I think, Larry, everyone is happy when they don't have to go to El Viejo. What were you doing up there? Oh, Larry says brisket tomorrow. Oh, I'll be around at some point. I'll be around a bit. And by around, I mean I'll be in the restaurant tomorrow. I've got a private event that I'm at, but I'll stop out and say hi. Tell Isabel when you're there or tell her to tell me that you're there, and I'll pop out and say hi. Very cool. But yeah, if you're on AT&T or T-Mobile, if you're coming from the U.S., of course, who asked me? Oh, Nika Man. Yeah, you're in the U.S., right? Yeah. It's only if you have Verizon that you have to come up with something else. If you're on AT&T or T-Mobile, just use that. Make sure you check with them that you have the international service turned on, but it's so nice because you don't have to do anything. If you're only here for a little bit, totally worth it. Now, I have T-Mobile and Tigo, which the reason that, okay, so I often say that I don't know why we picked Tigo, but actually there's a reason. T-Mobile uses the Claro network. Tigo is not on the Claro network. So technically, I have both. If there was an outage with Tigo, I can use Claro through my T-Mobile. If you're on AT&T, according to, who said it? Zane, then it would be the opposite. If you have AT&T, you would want to get Claro here so that AT&T uses the Tigo network, apparently. I haven't tested that. And then if you're going to get a backup, you'd want Claro just in case, because they do use separate towers here. Even though the tech overlaps, the towers do not. So that is nice if it works that way. Patricia's here. Hello. Lots of videos on medical and veterinary services. Oh, that was answering a question. Jay Martinez says, Scott, I don't know if you have discussed this, but medical and veterinary services, what's your take on this? I have discussed it a lot. So medical, fantastic. Nicaragua really is a great place for medicine, and we do have a number of videos on this, and obviously I recommend always go watch my videos. But we've had to use medical here a number of times. Obviously, for the bulk of expats coming here, you're going to want to use private services. I'm in Leon. Here, our private hospital is Amaxa, which is spelled with a C and an S, not a X or whatever. And they're absolutely fantastic. We've had the best luck with them. The doctors are fantastic. The service is fantastic. You get in so fast, and it's so cheap that you don't need insurance or anything under normal circumstances. A lot of people ask, and we say, generally, we just don't get insurance because expats can pay out of pocket. But if you are, if you're really concerned about that, or you have traveler's insurance, obviously that will work as well. If you have to, there's public facilities you're able to use. They are free. Obviously, they're not the same as private. Private here is extensive, and we're ranked among the best in Central America. We are very competitive, and we are upgrading. So we're taking medical care here in Nicaragua really seriously. Central America is not generally seen as a tourist medical tourism destination, but it's becoming one. El Salvador has been a minor medical tourism location, and Nicaragua is turning into a major one. It looks like we've always been medical tourism, if you can count this as medical tourism, if you're looking for a burn unit. Nicaragua is the best burn units in the region, possibly in all of Latin America. So if that's something you needed for healthcare, which you would not plan ahead of time, this is where you'd want to be emergency flown to, not from. But if you were looking traditionally for cancer care, acute heart care, well, acute heart care, yes, but chronic heart care, you may go to a larger facility in another country, often Colombia. That is just, they're the leaders in the region. You would always want to go there. They have like the Mayo and Cleveland Clinic equivalents of Latin America. So since they're so close, why go anywhere else? You wouldn't, right? The time in the air, it can only be a difference of like 30 minutes compared to any of the other top facilities in El Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico. You would just go to Colombia, who is far and away number one under normal circumstances. But new hospital being built here in León, where I live. Now, this only impacts western Nicaragua. If you live out in Bluefields, if you live in San Juan del Sur, you don't care about this. But if you live here in León, we are getting the largest medical center in Central America. Not the largest in Nicaragua, the largest in Central America and Panama and probably quite a bit of southern Mexico. It is a massive facility. It is right in León. We are going to have the new oncology specialty unit. We have the new heart care specialty unit. They're supposed to be open at the end of this year. I have requested permission to get tours of the facility. I don't have that yet, but the hopes are, and people have given me good feedback, like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's try to get that. So we're hoping that that's going to move forward. We have a similar but smaller but also epic medical facility I just saw the number, 71% completed at Acotal, which is the capital of Nueva Segovia in the north above the highlands, closer to Honduras. That is a smaller colonial city. Not very many people go there as tourists, but it is an important city for the country really, really far up north, and they're getting a major medical that's going to service the north part of the country. So we have some major medical upgrades. But of the times that we've had major medical problems here, and we've had some really big ones that we've had to deal with, and some really minor ones, one of our first reactions here is thank goodness we weren't in the United States. We weren't somewhere else, that we were here in Nicaragua where the healthcare is so good and so affordable, and we're so close. Should we ever have to be airlifted somewhere, this is a pretty decent place to be airlifted from. We're kind of in the middle of things. So medical, if you have specific questions, certainly ask, but as a general thing, it's fantastic and getting better. Would you move if you had amazingly acute, that's a weird way to put it, medical issues that were really extreme? Would you seek out Nicaragua if it wasn't a burn situation? Probably not based on the medical. But if you don't have any existing issues, we're a great medical destination. If you have a really severe acute issue that needs to be dealt with all the time, then you're going to want to look at someplace almost certainly like a Mexico or a Colombia, where you can get top-end specialty in whatever it is you have. It's just how it is. If your existing medical issues are driving your decisions, then those are probably your go-to locations. If you're looking for a place that is just able to cover you medically should nearly anything arrive and outpace U.S. and Canadian healthcare, yeah, Nicaragua's the place to be. And price, you're going to struggle to find any place that is as affordable. Now, for veterinary, so I do a lot of veterinary here. I have veterinarians on my own staff. Veterinarian care here can be really good, but you have to look around. You have to be a little bit careful. Make sure you're talking to people who know and really are taking care of their pets. There are a lot of people who are unlicensed and operate as rogue veterinarian offices. There's a lot of people who cut corners, and you've got to be careful. So you can get amazing veterinary care. All of my veterinarians actually work in the United States. They work from here in U.S. clinics. They are extremely good. They do both regular human doctors and veterinarian doctors do house calls because they take your healthcare to a whole nother degree of seriousness compared to what you're used to in most places. So they're really good, but you have to know who you're getting as well. So just be a little bit cautious. But certainly those are reasons to want to be here. Nika Man says to Zane, I have attached premium PL, so it'd be free for me to, but wanted to get a Nika number since I'll be opening a checking account. Oh yeah, you can get a Nika number that way for sure. AT&T he meant. Okay, Larry says I was going back to Playa Santa Maria. I guess if you're going to the beach in El Viejo, that's okay. To do more exploring on my quad. I was there 2 weeks ago, canceled because of the excessive heat and rain warnings there. Yep, it's that season, hot and rainy. Zane says, a question. I know you said not good to finance a house. What about a car? It's okay to finance a car. Your finance options are pretty limited. Pretty much you're going to have to go through the dealership, and I have no idea what your chances of getting financing is, but I do know if you drive through Managua, which is where most of the big dealerships are, as you drive through, they are advertising their financing all over the place. So presumably it's at least available and you can talk to someone about it. There are loads of dealerships. If you're just looking for a place to start, I know that Piste Jean-Paul Genis in the southeast of the city has a strip just west of the Galerías, the Santo Domingo, and that stretch probably has 8 or 10 really big dealerships with Nissan. I didn't see Toyota, but Nissan, Ford, Chevy, Chery, GAC, I think Mazda, Kia, Hyundai, Isuzu. They're all right there, and you can just go from one to another, see what their financing all is advertised as similar. So just go down the strip and see what you like, and you can probably find something. Will the deal be good? I don't know, right? But it's potentially out there. They need to update Bluefields Hospital. They have a hospital at they must have a hospital at Bluefields, but I know nothing about it. That is such a small town it's a big challenge out there because it doesn't service very many people. When we're talking about little places like Ocotal as a small city has a metro area larger than thousands of square miles around Bluefields. Bluefields is the capital of a region that's something like 1/3 the total landmass of Nicaragua. That's probably exaggerating, but maybe 1/4 the landmass of the entire country, with Bluefields at its capital, and that entire region has a population smaller than the Ocotal metro, and no one knows Ocotal. It's such a remote area with such a small population. So it's really hard, and people who would be going to Bluefields, they'd be traveling by helicopter over a really long distance. Why would they go there? They could be in Managua in the same amount of time, but be at the big hospitals. So it's very unlikely for Bluefields to ever have a major medical, unless we see a big population surge out in that area. But yeah, obviously, it would be nice to see it get upgraded. Greetings, Scott, from Charlotte. This is William Manzanares. I sent over an email, but I think you have the incorrect one. Where would I be able to get that information? Is how to get the correct information on the email. The email there's a few places. I'm going to say it, but you can look it up. So on my YouTube page, the main page, there's like a contact, there's like a more information. There is an email in there. All these emails are the same. If you go into the description of the show, I think the live stream has it, but I know the normal episodes always have it. Somewhere near the bottom, I think. We don't push it really hard. We don't put it on the show itself, but it's always in the description if you need to reach me, and it's info@relocatenicaragua.com. And that comes, some people think it goes to a group. We're not like some big company. It's just me. And I should get it. And I'm pretty bad about answering, but I've not seen your email, so I will look for it if you send it. I only have 3 unread emails right now. I just looked a few minutes ago. And it's all from people that I've already spoken to. It's just a follow-up on something. So there's if you've sent some in and I've not responded, I don't have it yet, unless it was in the last 5 minutes. So definitely send it, info@relocatenicaragua.com, and then if I don't get it, post again. You can always go to my Instagram as well, which is Zift Traveler on Instagram, and eventually I'll get that. Those are tough because it shows up as a request. Janet says, wow, live today. I'm working, but I'll keep checking back. We're just doing a short one, Janet. Janet and I were talking earlier while she was working, and Patricia says the email is in the live stream description. Thank you, Patricia. I try to copy the same thing. I've got a template that I put, and the live streams are templated. For your information, if you ever wonder how this works, I have to go into the live stream and change the title, and if there's going to be a description or something special, like we have a topic for the week, I'll try to add that in as a tag or something at the top, but I try to put, mostly I'm just rambling. So I don't put anything in the top except for the date now. And I try to change the picture each time. Not always successful with that. I have to go into the template, change the date, change the thumbnail, and then it puts up the right one. Today should be the raccoon having martinis in Paris. And then, because I try to do an animal theme for each one so you can identify which is which. And then that's about it. That's what I change. Everything else is templated, so if it's in there, it should always be in there. In theory. So, and my wife is trying to reach me while I'm doing a live stream. I have to talk to my producer. Hold on, I have to tell my wife that I'm testing this. Dominica quiere empanadas de Russell. Ella quiere vegetariano con queso. Y Paul quiere de pollo. ¿Es posible? Okay. That was me ordering dinner. Y lo mismo, vegetariano con queso para mí. Y lo que quieres. Y vegano para Liesl. Y camarones para Luciana. ¿Hay camarones? Okay. Interesante. Well, you got to see firsthand how this works live on the show. We're ordering empanadas. A friend of ours has a brand new delivery, I think, empanada business here in Nicaragua. We did not get to order it last week because she was busy with an event. Like when you do from home, often you have a food cart and you take it to an event and serve it there. So you close down. This week there's not an event, so in theory she's serving from home, and we'll get to try it. So new empanadas, that's a thing. Okay, I'm going to get back and see what the questions are, if anybody's talking. Zane says, that was it. And Zane says, interesante. Sometimes you get to hear my Spanish come out. I do speak some Spanish, but I'm not at the point where we're ready to do a show of it, and certainly not a live stream. Okay, now my wife needs me to confirm with my kids while I'm doing the live stream instead. I don't know why she doesn't ask them. Okay, done. Okay. Hopefully we're back. Okay. Zane is laughing at me for having to do the orders. No one understands, like, I'm doing a live stream. And it also shows how much, like, my wife does not watch my show at all. She says this is one of those things that keep us from killing each other, is she never ever watches my show and has nothing to do with it. Zane says, question, do you fly in with Nica passport or American one? So I don't have a Nicaraguan passport, but these are really strict rules. There's no gray area on this whatsoever. So actually this is super important for those of you who do have both. Yes, Patricia, we are in the same house messaging each other. So I'm at the front of the house. This is like the front door, like literally right next to me. And she's all the way at the back by the back garden. So Zane, if you have a Nicaraguan passport, it is a crime to come into the country on any other passport. You may never show a passport other than your Nicaraguan passport when going through Nicaraguan customs, border control. Same thing with the U.S. You must show your American passport. In the general rule, I don't know any exception to this worldwide. If you have a passport from a country, you must use that passport when crossing into that country. If you don't do that, you easily can be arrested anywhere, right? I don't know any country that won't consider arresting you if you do that. When you're flying into a third-party country, under normal conditions, you have the option of picking the passport you are going to use, but it needs to be consistent, so you have to track what you're going to do. So, for example, if you travel the world over on your American passport, then you would want to just generally use your American passport everywhere you go, and only use Nicaragua when entering and exiting Nicaragua itself, but you'd have to carry it with you just in case you ever had to come back directly from wherever you are. However, if you're going to be flying into Cuba, for example, you're not allowed to do that on a U.S. passport. So you would use your Nicaraguan passport. You just have to remember that that's what you used for that specific country. That's fine, not a problem. You just have to keep track of it. In a case like Cuba, it's really easy to keep track of that it's not able to use the U.S. one, so you have to use the Nicaraguan one, or not use one at all, which is not recommended. But sometimes you have to, and you have no choice. But it's pretty straightforward. But very importantly, if you were to enter Nicaragua, now this only applies to people who are not naturally born Nicaraguans, but this is very important. Nicaragua recognizes the capability of revoking your citizenship. Right? Some places like the United States specifically tax you when you live abroad, so they have a very, very difficult process for revoking your citizenship. You can walk around saying, I'm no longer an American. You can throw your passport in the trash. You can set it on fire. You can sell it. You can go in front of any agency anywhere in the world and declare that you are no longer an American, and the U.S. says, I don't care. There is a process in the U.S. by which you can officially revoke your citizenship, but it is very lengthy. It is very expensive. It can be a huge amount of your income. So that's the American process. And they do this because they tax you worldwide. So they really, really love Americans who move abroad and can't get rid of their citizenship because they cost the country nothing, but they have a tax base from them. So the U.S. really likes that scenario. Nicaragua does not tax you when you're abroad, so they do not have that financial incentive to hold you to having Nicaraguan citizenship no matter what. So Nicaragua goes the opposite direction and makes it incredibly easy for you to voluntarily revoke your citizenship. A situation that some people do not realize is that if you enter Nicaragua, you are given an option to show a non-Nicaraguan passport at border control. That is an acceptable form of revocation of your citizenship. So the act of crossing into Nicaragua with a U.S. passport is simultaneously a voluntary revocation of your Nicaraguan citizenship. Now, if you're born a Nicaraguan, I don't believe it happens automatically. You have to go through extra steps. But if you have obtained Nicaraguan citizenship by some other means, then it is an automatic revocation. You do not have to notify anyone further. They do not have to notify you further. By entering Nicaragua on a U.S. passport, you cannot be a Nicaraguan citizen. So that is something to be very aware of. Zane, I had to show both to come out of the country, so I didn't get taxed because I used the American one to come in because I didn't have the Nica one. Right, you didn't have it. I think we talked about that at some point. That can happen. But in the future, you'll just come in and go on your Nica one all the time. As a Nicaraguan born, I can show either my American passport or my American passport. I think he means Nicaraguan passport. If I show my American, I am forced to pay $10 USD. Nika Man, he's Nicaraguan born. For that. So it's true. Evening all. Love that wall. Thanks, Buddhist. That's Mario. You gotta stop by sometime and see it because we're around the corner. But you're in Florida now. I'm so sorry. But yeah, here we are. And I do have. I can't just reach over and grab it, but I have Mario's whiskey that he got me. Imagine I'm showing it to you on the show. I need to drink some, but we're just ordering dinner here. ¿Es posible para tener empanadas? Ah, perfecto. Now I'll message my wife and say that we got the food. The order has been placed, the children have been checked in on, and I'm saying this live on the live stream because it's faster than typing it out while people are watching me talk to my phone and they're laughing. Patricia is making jokes about how I have to message you across the house while we're in the same house. Can't get my wife on the live stream, but at least we can talk to her on the phone on the live stream. We do need to have a way to do callers call in. I'm not sure how to do a Bluetooth from my phone to the board, the broadcast board, to do that. That would be really cool. Obviously, we could do it through something else, but who knows? All right, William Manzanares says, question. My stepdaughter is a U.S. citizen. I know Nicaragua does not allow dual citizenship, but is there an exception if both parents are Nicaraguan citizens for her to become a citizen? Both parents are Nicaraguan. You're going to have to give me more information, William. I'm sorry. Both parents are born Nicaraguan, or both parents became Nicaraguan citizens later? Nicaragua does allow dual citizenship. Let's be super clear. Absolutely, Nicaragua allows dual citizenship, not under all circumstances. So you have to be careful. If you're switching from American to Nicaraguan, you can't have both. But if you have a right to Nicaraguan citizenship, normally you can have both. So there are definitely situations. It's not a blanket. You can't have both. It is that you can't convert from one to the other and keep both. That is my understanding. Extremely few people do this. I actually have a friend who just did it. I should ask him. He's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks, so we can talk about that on the interview with him. Messaging someone else in your house is so American. Honestly, Nicaraguans do it all the time. Mario says not to worry, I'll be back soon. Awesome. Okay, so William, if they're born Nicaraguan, the thing that they need to do is check with Nicaragua. But if you're born to two Nicaraguan parents, I don't believe the fact that you're born abroad means you're not a Nicaraguan. I know an awful lot of Nicaraguans who've been born abroad, and they're still Nicaraguans. Obviously, they're Nicaraguan in the cultural sense, but they're Nicaraguan in the legal national sense. So it's not, I believe that under that, yeah, Nicaman they do, but it's how you obtain it that matters. So William, my understanding is that your stepdaughter will be applying for her passport, but not applying for citizenship. She may be claiming citizenship, but that is not the same thing. It is a matter of they don't have her documented, and she needs to become documented. But that's just they didn't know, and now they know. But my understanding is that she is already a Nicaraguan citizen. She just has to notify the government and then request her passport, and then she should be good to go. That is my understanding. I will do my best to find out about that. Some of these things are difficult because they aren't processes that I'm able to go through personally, and so I don't have contacts in like a department that does that or anyone who's working on that. Like they're very unique things. If you find someone who's done that, they'll have all kinds of information for you. I'm a bad resource because I'm an American expat here, so I've never had to deal with Nicaraguan citizenship, and for all intents and purposes, Nicaraguan citizenship is not open to me. So even as a theoretically, what if I wanted it? Doesn't matter. I don't have a path to that. I mean, technically, if I want to put in 40 years and really be hopeful, it could happen. But it's an extremely difficult thing with no clear path. So it's not on our radar. Carnivoro Nika, if both your parents are born Nicaraguans, your kids are allowed to receive Nicaraguan citizenship. Yeah, that was exactly. Okay, good. Confirmation of what I've thought. And Nika Man says, as long as one of your parents is Nicaraguan born, even if the kid is born abroad, it qualifies for Nicaraguan citizenship. Okay, so everybody's just confirming exactly what I said. And it definitely is only one parent. It doesn't have to be both. I don't think having both has any kind of additional benefit in any way. And of course, the United States recognizes if you're born on U.S. soil, normally that makes you an American. Not 100% of the time. Nothing in America is straightforward and clear, so all those things it's like there's so many rules, yet they're not clear. Whereas Nicaragua, there's very few rules, and they're very clear in most cases. I'm being stared at. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Did we cover all the current questions? How long have we been on? I don't know. I can't see all the things anymore. It is currently 7 o'clock here in Nicaragua, and we've been toying with the idea. Now I say toying with the idea. This is just me doing filler, by the way. But toying with the idea of wouldn't it be cool if we did like a morning show and had like a Nicaraguan channel that we did from here? Because we have so much of the equipment, obviously. Like obviously we're super short on equipment. We would need more cameras, more boards, more mics. But like the broadcast quality on this is unbelievably high. And this is just, we threw one light up real quickly, turned on the neon light, and just flipped on the camera. Like, there's no prep here whatsoever. And there's no one, like, manning the camera. Marcella is just on the board and making sure that the stuff stays on and looking at the monitor. And hopefully she's looking at the monitor. I can at least see the monitor reflected in her glasses, so that kind of works. She's kind of acting as a mirror sitting over there. I can see the camera, kind of, but the Fuji, and this is, Fuji, what were you doing? They put all the connectors for the camera right where the screen has to go. So I can kind of see the screen, but first of all, it's this big and it's way far away. And all these cables are directly in front of it. So like I can only see bits of the screen. Like they could have put the cables on the other side or on the bottom. The bottom would have been bad. We'd have been like, that's dumb. But they could have put them on the other side, and that would have been perfect. I have no idea why they're on the side that they're on, but that's the one thing that really causes some consternation with that. Other than that, best camera ever. I would buy so many of them. They are amazing. So, all right. Any more questions? Nothing. Oh, there we go. Palo de Mayo. What am I reading? Both. Luke says, looking forward to your filming of the household shipment process. Keep smiling for the camera. So, so the household shipment, we will be attempting sometime after we get our residency, which should be very soon. And I'll bring more residency information, obviously, as we get closer to it. But I don't know how long it's going to be before we do the shipment from the U.S. I do want to do it pretty quickly because it's crazy expensive to keep a storage unit that we can't use, and we haven't had access to our stuff in forever. But we also need a place to put it here, and that's a huge pain. So we are unclear exactly how that's going to work. It'll be interesting. But it should be straightforward. It should just be like we ship it, we put in some paperwork. Like I don't think it'll be a big deal. But Zane says, right now I want to be in Bluefields for the 25th of Mayo. Palo de Mayo. I don't really know anything about the celebration. It would be cool to be there, but it's today and I can't get there that fast. The light's still on? The light is still on. It's very dim when I'm looking at it on the phone. Is it dim for you guys? Maybe the whole thing. Maybe I'm not seeing the live stream do anything. Nika Man says, I can give you Nicaraguan citizenship on one condition. A couple Tonias in Las Penitas, my dude. How do I get Nicaraguan citizenship? It would be cool if I didn't have to revoke my other citizenships. If if I could just add Nicaraguan citizenship, done. I'd have it immediately. But as an American, I do have to revoke my main citizenship. And if you live in Nicaragua, transiting to just about anywhere requires U.S. citizenship, or it is an unbelievable pain. You're basically in an embargo. And even if I didn't have Nicaraguan citizenship, if I was working on my Nicaraguan citizenship, you can guess that the United States would not grant me transit as an option. That would not happen. Not at all. All right. William says, salud. Gracias. Carnivore Nika. My eyes are getting old. Is healthcare free in Nicaragua? Yes. Or you have to obtain healthcare insurance to go to the hospital for an emergency. No, you never have to have insurance. Public healthcare is free. As free public healthcare in the third world goes, sometimes you want something more. But if you absolutely have to go to a hospital and you cannot pay anything, you may go to the public hospital. And we've had to do this for some minor things ourselves, and they don't even have a system for you paying. Like, you just go and everything's free. But public healthcare means you're not getting private rooms. You are not getting priority seating, right? You're going to go in and you're going to wait in line. Obviously, if you're having a acute issue, you get moved forward. They triage, but there's just longer lines because it's free. Now, they do see you the same day. Like, it's not like, oh, come back in a month. No, they see you. Like, it's quite decent healthcare. The approach to healthcare here is much better than in the U.S. Like, they have a human-first approach. They're very diligent about actually looking to solve your issues. Really good bedside care. Like, it really is good considering. But if you're going for absolutely free public healthcare, you're going to be like, oh, this is amazing that I'm alive and that was free. But you'll also be like, I think I would rather have paid for upgraded healthcare options. Paying out of pocket for private healthcare is extremely doable, very, very simple, and you don't have to have insurance for that either. You can simply walk into, for example, here in Leon, walk into the Amoxa facility or take their ambulance and just walk in, hand them a credit card at check-in, and you're good to go. Obviously, it's better if you have someone with you, so you can be, in an accident and incapacitated and they can pay for you. That would be better. But that's the situation, right? You just go in and you just pay, and the cost is so low that even really major issues is often similar to or less than the cost you would have paid for the insurance, let alone anything else. So yes, under certain circumstances, insurance will work out better, but on average, it will not. The actual ability to get affordable private healthcare and choose any facility you want, anywhere you want in the country or other country, is pretty nice and a really big deal. We have used Amoxa a number of times. Anytime we have something come up here in Leon, that's what we do. When we're in Managua, we use Vivian Pellis, which is the highest ranked and most expensive private hospital in the country. They're quite amazing. I totally consider them vastly superior to any American hospital I've ever set foot in, and their quality of care is amazing. Like, really, really happy. We're happy with the quality of healthcare here. Everything from just doctors at clinics that we've had to interface with, to doctors who've done emergency home visits, to in-home doctors and nurses who come in and do 24/7 care in the home, to using the private hospitals, to using the public hospitals, to using the super high-end centralized private hospitals in Managua. All of it has been rather impressive. We're consistently happy with how good of care we get for how little cost, and how much personalization that we get with that, and how much of our own personal feelings and needs are taken into account, rather than in the U.S. where they have, this is what we do for that and you'd better put up with it. So that's very different and very good. There's also Militar in Managua. That's an excellent hospital. I have not used it personally. It's supposed to rival Vivian Pellis. And I know with Vivian Pellis, probably with others, you're able to get on a plan. So it's not insurance. It's more like you pay $10 or $20 a month and you get a bunch of things cheaper. Like you get some well visits included, I think. I don't have the details. And then like certain things like acute care maybe gets a 10% discount, and a private room gets like 50% off. Like you get big discounts on the things that are less emergency, but that you may want to upgrade for, right? And when we just used the hospital in January, we were definitely using private rooms and room service, and they have a great restaurant, really good food. You can order snacks, and you can come and go from the hospital. Like it's an utterly different experience than you would get in North America. So yeah, no, you can use free healthcare when you need it, but generally you're going to want to pay because it's so little. Hoping to purchase, this is Luke, a 10-foot high-capacity container. Fill it and repurpose for a recording studio with a vocal isolation booth. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I need that for my recording office here. Nika Man says, yeah, it's better. You have to have the U.S. citizenship and permanent residency in Nicaragua. Better for you to have the U.S. citizenship and permanent residency in Nicaragua. Yeah, with permanent residency here and carrying the U.S. citizenship, I'm able to live in Nicaragua but transit all the major airports in the region. My ability to come and go from Nicaragua is so superior to Nicaraguans' ability to do that. It's crazy how much easier it is for an American to come and go from Nicaragua than Nicaraguans. Like it's a problem. Carnivore says, awesome. Nika Man, the Vivian Pellis is amazing. For that level of healthcare, it is way better to pay for their health insurance. He means their health plan. Everybody calls it insurance, but it doesn't actually cover you. It just lowers the cost. But it's, yeah, and it does give you access. They have clinics around the country as well. I know nothing about those clinics, and I think they're just associated. I don't think they own them, but you can go use them as well. Obviously, they don't have all the care that Vivian Pellis does. The big thing about Vivian Pellis for a lot of people is that they have, if you need like an MRI, the MRI machine is in the hospital, whereas if you're here in Leon and you need to do an MRI, typically even the private hospitals are going to send you to an MRI clinic. It's not a big deal. The clinics are really nice, very affordable, no big deal to use, but it's an outside clinic that all the medical facilities share rather than having their own. So, oh, High Cube, gotcha. High Cube storage container. Now, it can't be on real long for this live stream. We're doing this a pretty short one. We really wanted to test out this format. I want to be able to see it. So after we're done, I'm going to go watch this, see what it looks like, see what it sounds like. But I'm pretty confident that with the microphone right here that it probably sounds really good. And we can do like podcast NPR type stuff if we really wanted to. But it's better if we do this and keep it normal probably, because then we have more energy. This is for like, it's late night here in Nicaragua, and these are the sounds of the mountains, coming to you live from Leon, Nicaragua. This is Scott Allen Miller. My producer, Marcella. Is it? Nope, she's doing something weird. No, it's okay. Está bien. She panicked. She panicked because my voice is low and she's not actually watching the show. So that's what happens. She almost cut off the show because she panicked because she heard her voice. See. Did I hear the little dog? Well, I may be letting it. Oh, I did. A Boston Terrier has joined the show. Zane is laughing at us. I'm hoping to be able to pull off a podcast. I want to do a podcast style show where we do interviews. I've talked to I've talked to a couple of people about some ideas around that. And I really, because I love doing this format. This is so much fun. And you guys know I try to do this every Thursday. And it's such a great time. But it's a different thing because it's just me in a vacuum. And I get to read what you guys are saying, but it's different. I want to have like live people having a conversation where we have other people who are in relocation or Nicaragua or Latin America and talking about like differences between different things and getting multiple opinions in real time, but have it kind of geared towards it could just be audio like a podcast, but of course we'll put it on YouTube, so we'll have cameras on us. Whatever I do, I'm sure this little dog is here. Are you just trying to be are you the handsome boy? You want to be on the show, but you're too short. They can't see you. You're too little. And I think that would be a lot of fun and a different way to do the show. Yes, my producer is telling me that we are running low on time because we are heading to do karaoke tonight. That is the plan. We're going out for just a little while, but it is good to get out. Hopefully, empanadas antes de saliendo. Okay, she says yes. And so if there's any last minute questions, I'm going to check. Feel free to jump in. Listen to the sounds of our howlers. Oh yeah, I should get the dogs on. Nika Man, in my opinion, try to hide the microphones either up or off the screen to make it look more podcast-like. A lot of podcasts have the microphone on as it's like the thing to have it on. In this case, it's just I can't even tell where it is. It's here. Okay, so there's a bit more on the screen. I have so little visibility into what's on camera that I don't know. Aprendiendo Inglés dice, I listen to this to improve my English. That's awesome. I do know that, are you a student of Janet's? Because I know Janet has sent some people to watch my show specifically because I have very clear English with a very neutral accent. And I have an episode of my regular show that explains my accent. I grew up, my family is from the Cleveland area, and my dog is whining. And I grew up in the Buffalo area, and the accent of that region is known as the Buffalo-Cleveland accent, and that is considered the U.S. standard accent. It is the American equivalent of BBC English in England. The difference is BBC English is engineered, and Buffalo-Cleveland is a natural accent of a region that is simply considered to be the clearest U.S. accent and the national standard. My dog is annoyed that we are doing a show and not paying attention to him. There is a new engineered American accent that I call the Disney accent. Walt Disney actually engineered an accent that seems to combine Texan and Southern Californian, and they use it for the majority of their shows, at least like their sitcoms and their kids shows. And it's a very clear, easy to understand accent, but it is definitely a more modern Western accent compared to my very Northeastern clean accent that I have. But I have a lexicon from Pittsburgh, so I sound like I'm from Cleveland or Buffalo, because I am, but I speak as though I learned from people from Pittsburgh, which I kind of did. So some of the words I use and some of the ways that I speak are from Pittsburgh. So that gives you a little bit about that. Question, what do I think of Carretera Sur houses? Which houses on the Carretera Sur? The really tiny new ones that they put out in the middle of nowhere? Or something in the city? Transio says, have you been to Ometepe Island? Yeah, of course, a couple times. Like Ometepe, it's very cool. I like going out to Merida. I like to stay in Los Congos. And I really recommend getting the pasta there. And I've got friends going out to Ometepe in a couple days, but we just had the volcano erupt there, so not maybe a week or two before you head there. Nah, man, you sound like the good old Texas ranchers. Yeehaw! That's right, y'all. I do throw in y'alls because I lived in Texas for a long time, but I don't really have a Texas sound. In Dallas, I kind of blend in because Dallas has a very neutral sound. Now, who said that? Nika Man? It is. I grew up on a farm in the Buffalo area, so that is partially why I sound like a little bit country. I'm a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. That ain't no Esperanza. The expensive ones for sale on Carretera Sur. I'm not sure where those are, Zane. I take the Keratosaur on a regular basis, but hold on. Let's get rid of this dog. Do you want to go out? Is that what you want? You want to go out? No, he just wants to bark. Where are you going? Okay. We have evacuated the dogs. The dog vacuum effect, I call it. If you open a door between a space where there are dogs and no dogs, the dog vacuum in the space where there are no dogs will instantly suck at least 50% of the dogs in the dog space into the vacuum space, reaching eventually dog equilibrium. These are things you need to know about dogs. And dog vacuums. Now, all of you are going to think about the dog vacuum. Every time you have a dog and open a door and the dog runs through the door, you're going to be like, it was the dog vacuum. But in a situation, this is the important rule of the dog vacuum. The part that I stated just now is the obvious part. The part that is not stated is that in a situation where there is a vacuum in one space and not a vacuum in another space, but there is only one dog, the odd number of dogs, one being the case, will be sucked through the vacuum even though it will leave the previous space as a vacuum. It is a rubber banding style effect, so the dog will be sucked through, but if you open the door again, it will be sucked back. That is the nature of dog vacuums. Clive wanted to be on the show. Yes, Clive did want to be on the show, but I can't lean down and get him from the stool that I'm on. I really need a higher stool because it looks like I'm so short, but I'm actually uncomfortably high, and this is, if I stand up, it's like normal. Right, we're going to do this. Then the microphone will disappear. But sitting, it's awkward, but it puts the microphone, and I don't want it, if I stand, I'm going to move around. I'm getting the face because it's time to wrap up the show. So we're going to call it there because we need to get our empanadas, we need to get ready and get out the door because we are going out this evening. I'm only going out for a little bit, then I'm coming back and editing videos. I have a lot of videos that have already been done and up today and more that are coming very soon. So don't ask any more questions. I don't have time to read them and to respond. So thanks everybody for jumping in. Definitely leave comments and stuff about what you think about this format. How does this work compared to what I normally do? Reading from my phone is kind of cool, but definitely this would not work if we're doing a 5-hour. On this little short one, it worked just fine. This was easy, actually. But, and I like this, like, I think the microphone's better. I think the camera some distance away is better. I think the studio's better. Like all this, I'm feeling good about. We got to fix the light so it's like cool lighting. This is just like you can see me lighting. Definitely, Patricia says, have fun, enjoy the empanadas. I'm looking forward to it, right? We never get empanadas here. I only get like pineapple empanadas when like out on the highway, but like actually for food is, all right, Nikki Man says the light on the background would look way better right behind you, top of your head. Yes, I know. I didn't have time to like move stuff, and if you kind of see this one, that's right here, it's a balloon. So it's great for soft lighting, but I can't put it behind me in any good way. I've got to change the diffuser on it, and the other, like, we'll get there. All right, everybody. Have a good night. My producer is going to attempt to cut off the show now. This is her first time ending the show, so it's likely to take a little bit, but go ahead. Let's cut.